Hey guys, I've had a lot of questions regarding my indoor pond, so I wanted to make a video and try to answer as many as possible. First things first, this is a 300-gallon Rubbermaid tub. They're usually used on farms, outside. People like to use them for ponds or just to hold water. It has a drainage on it, which I have silicone shut, because as you can see it is on carpet, indoors in my basement, and that prevents it from leaking. And I bought this for $100 off of Facebook Marketplace. I think retailed new, they're about $300, I'm not sure, but definitely check secondhand since they're made really thick and really well. So next is the filtration system. And I personally believe I have too many filters. Well, no such thing as too many filters, but I am over filtering it. And I think that anyone could start up a new one with less filtration than I have. But I'll go over it anyway. I have an FX6 canister filter. This is rated for 300 gallons. And it goes in, and they're fairly close together. I mean, I don't really have them in any special way. Next, I have another canister filter. This is rated for 125 gallons. I don't know the name brand of it, but I know I bought it off Amazon. This is same as the last one, rated for 125 gallons. Again, I don't know the brand name, I just bought it off Amazon. And both of these two, the white ones, have UV filters, but I don't think that the UV light is working anymore, so I don't think it's contributing to my clear water at all. And then next we have two sponge filters, they're both rated for 100 gallons. I got those off of Amazon as well. And then, they're usually creating more bubbles, but I have that turned down for the sake of the video. And then I have a pond filter rated for 300 gallons, and this really isn't a filter, honestly. The UV light, it has a UV light in there, and it's pretty big and pretty strong, so I think that's what most of the money comes from. And then it has a fountain feature that I don't use because it would splash and kind of make a mess. And yeah, that's my filtration. And then I guess what adds to the filtration are the pothos, which are my plants that I got from Home Depot. You can get them at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, I think has a few. All I've done is I've rubber banded them. I think over here you can see better. I've rubber banded them together, different stalks, and I zip tied them to places like my filter. Over here, some of them are just resting on the edge. Just make sure that the leaves are not in the water, and then they should be good. I also have some lucky bamboo in there, and I got some more up in there. And then my hydroponics right here, this is what this is. The first layer is lava rock, and then the second layer is these clay balls. Honestly, I think I could have done this with just lava rock, but what I did was I threw a bunch of seeds from a seed packet from Home Depot in, and it said salad bowl lettuce, that's what it was. And I got stalks like this all over. They were growing all over. And I had to pluck them out because I'm not much of a gardener, and I didn't know that they weren't receiving the right light. So they're pretty stocky, pretty long. So I had to thin them out. And I just added new ones, and they're kind of starting to sprout right there. And I've made sure this time to spread them out and not just dump the packet in. And this is a window box planter, and it has, holes cut or drilled, I used to drill, on all sides. you can really gauge how many holes you need. And this is also zip tied onto the Rubbermaid tub. And that pretty much takes care of my filtration. These are Anubis on wood, and they're flourishing really well because goldfish make a lot of waste and high nitrates. And nitrates were the biggest difficulty I had in this tank, I would say. Some people believe the nitrates don't hurt the fish. Other people believe that it does. I like to keep my nitrates low just because I know it's safe and I don't have to worry. But the way I combated that was all these pothos. And all of these pothos cost me about $30 for all of them. So it's a pretty good deal, and you can get a lot less for, like, say $5, $10. It just depends. So that's my filtration. And now the lighting. So the lighting here is an Agro Bright light from Amazon. It's fluorescent glow lights. I actually broke one of the tubes in there when I first got it, so I don't have it at its full potential, but it is hanging. We have a drop ceiling, and it is hanging on that hook right there. You can see that. And it's suspended from the ceiling, and that's what it looks like. It goes down, and it's kind of, the plug-in's kind of ugly. It's kind of just on the wall, but it's pretty worth it to have some plants growing in the pond. Otherwise, I don't think I could do this. The pothos would be okay in no light because it's more like a living room plant or something like that. But I really, really love this light, and I got it off of Amazon. So that is my lighting. So now, this is my female betta tank. I've had these girls for a long time. They've been moved around quite a bit. I recently am downsizing, so I'm moving things around, and I honestly didn't really have a place for them because they were set up on a 3-tiered shelf, and the other 2 tiers didn't have any fish. So these guys had to move, and I put them on another glass aquarium that's a 20-gallon, and then this is a 20-gallon long. So I just set it on top, made sure no fish were under there. The little Ranchu kept trying to do it. It was a bit of a struggle doing it alone, but it worked out. And then they have a heater in there and different filtration. I do have that because if I wanted to do the same filtration, then the water would have to trickle out and down. And I don't think my bettas would survive that. So this is also what I use to grow my duckweed, since my fish eat anything and everything that fits in their mouth. I also have some pothos in here. The filter is just one of those turtle filters. You could use a sponge filter, anything. And then I have a heater in there. I think I said that. And every day I pretty much just check on the leaves and make sure the pothos isn't out of the water. And they have some regular plants in there. So, yeah. Okay, so my stock in this 300 gallons, I don't have a heater. You can get a heater. They're pretty expensive in my opinion. So I chose a cold water fish, even though I already knew I wanted to have goldfish. So I have 12 goldfish. They're all fancies except for this one right here. He's a shabunkin. I think that's still considered a fancy, I'm not sure. But 12 is basically the maximum number of goldfish I can have in here. Because as you can see, and I know not a lot of people have seen them as big as Winston, but they get pretty big and they make lots and lots of waste. And yeah, so I've had overstocking issues in the past where I've gotten up to 14, 15 goldfish, and it just couldn't handle it. That was before I had all these plants, but I still don't want to risk it. Oop, the brightness. So this is all I keep for now. So the only plants I really keep in here, since goldfish destroy almost every plant, is Anubis on wood. They are so hardy, obviously, because they are stuck in the wood, and they don't need soil, so I don't have any gravel or anything like that. And honestly, I'm sure if I did have gravel, then that would have gained more beneficial bacteria and I wouldn't need the filtration that I have now. Anyways, this stuff is amazing, and it's a huge nitrate sucker, and as you can see, they're just really flourishing. So that's what I keep in here. I also have another piece of what that is in the girls tank. I have that as well as in my pond. I don't know what that's called. Honestly, I just looked up aquarium plants on wood, and pretty much all of them should be pretty good to go in here. So the most frequent question I get asked is about the humidity. So as you can see, it is in a room, and it's actually a fairly small room. I'm not going to pan around because it's kind of a mess right now because I'm downsizing, but it's just fairly small, and it's a basement. So, and we did have high humidity at one point. What we did was we got a dehumidifier, not a humidifier, dehumidifier, and it's set on medium, and actually we got this secondhand too. It's not even that large, and we have 300 gallons, and it's been pretty good. I've only had to empty it about once every 3 days, which is pretty good. And then it shows you the humidity, and that is normal. If your humidity goes over, I believe 65, then that means it's pretty high. But this keeps it in check. That really keeps it dehumidified. So a few more things I'd like to mention about the pond, just helpful tips. I don't really get asked for any, but some of my tips that I've learned while setting this pond up would be the algae. You would like the algae to grow. I know that usually when you get algae, your water isn't as clear, but because I have a UV light in my filter, it keeps the water crystal clear, but the algae is still able to grow. So the algae will eat your nitrates, and your fish will also eat the algae. So it's 2 in 1 basically. It feeds your goldfish and eats up the nitrates. And then another thing I forgot to mention about the light. I have, my walls kind of needs a touch up. I have these ropes that I can easily lower this light with, since it needs to be a little lower to go to these plants over here. So if I pull this up, it goes up, and if I push this down, it'll go down, and I can easily do it myself. So I don't need help, so it's a very good light. Very good. I would say the setup cost, well, it was $100 for the stock tank. It was like $30 for the plants. It was $200 for this, which, like I said, you don't need. It was about $100 for both of those, and I have 2 of those. And then the sponge filters were $20 each, so $40. And then this was unnecessary, this pond filter. and it was $300, totally unnecessary. And then, I don't know the cost of 20-gallon or whatever. All of the Anubis on wood was fairly expensive as well. So you can do this yourself if you find your own wood and you buy separate Anubis. I bought them, and it was quite expensive to buy them. And then the light itself cost about, I would like to say, $175. I'm just gonna say that it might be lower, but it's definitely worth the price for sure. It lights up my pond really nicely. My room's lights aren't on, and it's just really nice. It's really, really nice. So that about wraps it up. And if I missed any questions or you have new questions, you can feel free to comment or message me, and I will definitely answer them, hopefully to the best of my ability.